Welcome back, everybody, to Hacked in the Dark. We are on part 3 of Deathwish by Ian. Ian, you want to talk about where we were?
Yeah, so the crew had just finished their first mission, taking out the Baron of the. Oh, what was that bay called? Anybody? I already took that out of my notes.
The Bay of Bagels.
Yeah, that's probably it. So after rescuing the Bay of Bagels, the crews decided to form their first alliance with a nearby fairy court. And to do that, the crew's idea, which is endorsed by the town they live in on the back of a giant beetle, is to deliver a whole bunch of pies and other trade goods, but mostly pies, to the fairies to win their goodwill. Uh, so the fairies heard about this plan and they're on board. They sent 2 escorts to help make sure that the pies arrive safely. And they're going to introduce themselves to your characters, and that'll be your chance to introduce your characters to them and to the audience. So the 2 characters that are escorting are Cobweb, who is a fairy in the form of sort of a big spider creature, and Mustard Seed, who looks kind of like an 8 foot tall half beetle man.
Hmm.
And Mustard Seed reaches out his hand and says, "Hello, I'm Mustard Seed, and I use he/him pronouns." And Cobweb says, "Hello, my name is Cobweb, and I use she/her pronouns."
Well,
Oh,
I'll reach out my hand and shake whoever's hand is nearby and say, I'm very pleased to meet you. My name is Jack.
Cobweb has lots of hands, enough for everybody, really.
Well, I'll take one of them.
Irma tries shaking as many as possible at once.
With all of
Probably,
your water arms.
yeah. Maybe a foot in there too at one point.
Grigsby's definitely smoking a cigar, sizing them up.
And Mustard Seed's gonna lumber up to Grigsby and be like, "Hello there."
Yeah, disinterested.
And he drops his head and says, "We'll work on that as we travel."
Just tell him you're a relative of Tom the mayor. He'll love you.
And Mustard Seeds says, "Let's not build our diplomatic relations on lies, huh?"
Darn.
Not at all. I'll pull Grigsby slightly aside and say, what we're trying to do here is get them on our side.
I mean, I didn't say nothing to nobody. He's gonna keep smoking his cigar. I just don't like mustard seeds. That's all.
One of Irma's water hands will just go up and put the cigar out. You know, the last time you did that, you set like half the town on fire.
I saved half the town, and I'd do it again.
But you still set half of them on fire. So let's
and yourself, just to be clear.
Yeah, let's calm down on the cigars just a little bit.
Very good thing that the
yeah,
fairies can't hear you guys talking right now.
You got a good point. I guess he snubs it in his little ashy stomach.
And your escorts say that since they are glamored, that is, their bodies have been put together by the rules of Ildathok and couldn't survive on Earth, you'll have to travel across Ildathok to reach their anthill. And so they They assume that you know about Ildathok since you live there on your giant beetle, but I'm going to summarize the rules real quickly for the audience, which is in Ildathok the two rules are that whenever the wind blows in Ildathok, it replaces everything it touches with whatever is in that exact same spot on Earth. So if it blows through a town, it'll make copies of all of the people there. Lifeless, imperfect copies, but it'll still look like that town. That also makes it dangerous because if you're standing in a spot where there's nothing, well, then the wind will try to erase you away. And so the most important thing in Ildathok is to beware the wind. The other special rule of Ildathok, and the reason that the Glamoured are able to have such interesting bodies, is that biology is easier in Ildathok. Everything tends to stay alive instead of tending towards dying. Mechanically, that means all harm you deal to a living creature is reduced by 1 level, and it also allows for creatures like the Glamoured and the Fomorians, which are the native creatures of Ildathok that are sort of big rampagey monsters. So you'll want to watch out for those as well.
Big rampagey monsters. Anybody catch that first bit? I got big rampagey monsters.
Yeah, we want to be careful of those
Okay.
and stay out of the wind.
Big rampagey monsters. What would be good against big rampagey monsters?
So to outfit your diplomacy/trade expedition, the town is providing you with an armored pie wagon.
All right. Sick.
Yep. So as long as the pie wagon's fight clock doesn't tick all the way down, your pies are safe. And the armor is effective against the wind, so it shouldn't get worn down too quickly.
Cool. So is it like a big pie wagon, like that's like armored?
It's a big armored wagon that has pies in it.
Uh-huh. Is something pulling this wagon, or is it self-propelled?
It's light enough that they're hoping you guys can just tug it along. I suppose they could attach an engine to it easily enough if you want to drive it. The only issue,
these arms, I was not made. I don't even walk.
The only issue
to the new beetle
with an engine is Ildathok is called the silent world for a reason. All the creatures have very acute hearing so that they can know when the wind is coming, and so anything that makes a loud noise, they're going to come running because it's potentially food.
Does that mean it would be a bad idea to bring Grigsby's car?
Yes.
So is there some way to acquire a draft animal for this purpose?
Yeah, they'll happily lend you like a team of horses for free.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I think that works.
Yeah, they are not armored like the wagons. You'll have to be more careful about keeping them out of the wind.
So
Keep them away from
are
Grigsby.
there regular strategies for staying out of the wind? I mean, what if the wind blows? Does one normally put up barriers, run away?
Yeah, it'll wear through barriers pretty quickly, but it's better than it wearing through your skin. And most importantly, it won't wear away barriers that exist on Earth. So it's very important to find structures that actually exist on Earth and use those as shelter as you go. And so Cobweb and Mustard Seed have already laid out the route that they took here, and they could take you back along it. And it weaves through forests and towns and stuff so that there's always something that you can take shelter in if the wind starts blowing.
All right, so there are expert guides.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that's very helpful.
All right. Last thing I wanted to check in on before you head out of town is that after last successful mission, each character gained a veteran ability, and this is an ability that represents their experience. It's not the same as a special ability. They're smaller and weaker, but they're a way to sort of flavor your character and build up their story as you go. So if each person wants to just mention quickly what veteran ability they took, and how it represents either lessons they learned or what they've been doing since last time.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to take Parlay since we did quite a bit of negotiating and talking on this last adventure. Besides, attacking zombies and vampires, so that gives me an ability to have controlled negotiation with intelligent enemies, at least starting at that level.
Yeah, and
Irma.
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Grigsby got the dashing veteran ability, and he's been campaigning for the woods ever since, with Tom and everything. And so he's got like a big chain that's like a leaf.
Irma has taken bait. So when I use an action to provoke an enemy into putting their focus on me, you take +1 die to a roll, and if I succeed, you gain 1 morale. So, yeah. It's going to be fun to call people out, be able to take additional dice.
All
So,
right.
that does bring up a good question. Have we met species like cobweb and mustard seed before?
Yeah, they're fairy ants, which are a species of ants that will take memories through Lethian ink and transfer it into their bodies so that they can get sort of the experience of being higher beings, like larger animals and so on. And then they use Jack Flint, which is an amalgam that when you cut yourself and cut another creature and mingle the blood, if you identify with that body more than your own, your mind transfers into it. And so they use that to jump up into larger and larger bodies. And in Ildathok, since they're using those imperfect, non-living copy bodies that the wind creates, so they're not having to kill real creatures. They're just taking the copies of those bodies, and then they're doing all sorts of modifications that are only possible here.
That's very ethical of them.
Yeah.
So, any of you interested in, replacing my beetle? I picked it up at the local rent-a-beetle place. Travel, get to do other things. You might die, but then again, you might die anyway.
So, are you asking us? Like, are we replacing?
No, I'm talking to Cobweb and Mustard Seed.
God.
And Mustard Seed looks down at your beetle and says, well, I'm sure it is a noble steed. This body is higher on the great chain of being. We've engineered it to perfection, and it better embodies my superior self.
Precisely why I want that sort of steed. Points to him.
I don't think our alliance has gotten to that point yet.
Make it 4. 4 of those. And we have a deal.
She just kind of nods and be like, I'll talk you into it. Besides, if anything, I make really mean muffins. I'll feed you muffins all day long.
Well, we have a long journey ahead of us. We can talk about it on the road.
Heroism isn't free.
And
Right.
so you're going to set out from your giant beetle?
Absolutely.
All right. So you head out on the open road when the forecasters of your town tell you that the wind is going to die down for a bit. And you head out. And you see, as expected, as usual, the outside of the giant beetle is badly worn down by just the constant wind wearing it down. But life in this world is so strong that as long as your town keeps feeding the beetle, it's regrowing faster than it's being harmed. And so that's how your town has managed to survive thus far. And so you head out, and they take you along a wooded route, and you come to a large open plain, and they say, all right, this is the trickiest part of the journey here. And they point out, and in the center of this open field, there is a barn and a fenced-in enclosure that's empty right now. And you see there's a farmhouse, and then at the far end of the plains there is the forest continues, and they say, we've got to cross this distance while the wind is down, or and then we can stop at the barn and the farmhouse and then continue on after.
Right. So I'm riding my horse. Are the two of you on the wagon or moving some other way?
I have a beetle, so
Yeah,
I
your
could be
beetle.
off of it. Yeah, I can be off separate if you want.
Uh-huh.
That means Grigsby actually is responsible for something other than himself, which is horrifying, and probably we should have thought about before actually letting him.
Unless we want to try to volunteer cobweb or mustard seed to be doing that.
Yeah, true.
If they would go along with it.
They
Yeah.
are focusing on escorting the cart.
Grigsby
Okay.
can have an arc of understanding.
All right. As long as we have the understanding with Grigsby that he's going to try to make sure this goes well.
Yeah.
Okay.
It always, I mean, it's worked out.
It's-
Kind of.
I must admit that, yes.
Yeah.
All right. So do Cobweb and Mustard Seed recommend that we try to do this fast or at a steady pace, or?
They say it's generally better to go fast. Just sprint from point to point, and then we can rest when we get there.
Okay.
And just as you're getting ready to head out, you hear the wind pick up, and the wind starts blowing across. And as the wind blows across, you see sort of dissolve, whatever the opposite of dissolving is. The farmer it suddenly forms out on his porch, just like leaning on the porch, and out in the field. Unicorns start appearing one after the other, pop, 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 all
Hell
across
yeah.
the field. And then after a few moments, the unicorns pop out and reappear in other locations because they're moving around, and the wind just is continuously forming and deforming them. And then the wind passes, and the imperfect unicorns all just stand there perfectly still, like a frozen photo. And the farmer is also just standing there, staring out into the distance, unmoving.
I need me one of them.
All right. Well, I think we are waiting for Cobweb and Mustard Seed to tell us when the best time to head out real fast is.
And Cobweb says, all right, the wind stopped. And Mustard Seed says, wait, why weren't those unicorns there before? Everybody pauses for a moment. And then an enormous creature comes crawling out of the barn. It's all pale white, like a creature that would live in a cave. And it's got dozens of gigantic arms, each bigger than your body. And it crawls out into the field, tears apart the barbed wire fence like it's not even there, and starts just chomping on unicorns left and right.
Oh, poor unicorns.
Well, they're mindless because they're not fully formed, but
Oh.
And so it just starts feeding itself brutally, devours all the unicorns, crawls over to the farmhouse, grabs the farmer, swallows him whole too, and then climbs back into the barn and carefully shuts the door.
Okay.
So would that be a Fomorian?
Yes. Yes, Mustard Seed nods and says, "That's a Fomorian, all right. A gigas, the largest kind that is possible to kill."
Well,
Irma is just cowering in her pot. It's all a bad dream. It's all a bad dream. It's all a bad dream.
I think we should avoid any need to try to kill that thing.
Well, he
Yeah.
said we need to go towards the barn, which actually means that we have a further distance to travel to not stop near the barn.
Yeah, the barn and the farmhouse are right in the middle of the wide open plains.
Uh-huh. So we have to get across the entire plain. We can't stop halfway through if the wind is coming through, or the Fomorian is likely to eat us.
Correct.
Since it's
Probably.
going to distinguish between, created meatsicles and regular people like us.
Yeah. It is just a dumb animal. You might be able to scare it away or hide from it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a big dumb animal.
All right.
So
Well, I turn to our guides and ask whether they have any suggestions as to the best strategy under these circumstances.
Mustard Seed looks at Cobweb, and Cobweb ponders for a moment and says, "We'd like to see your approach."
Fuck these guys. Fuck.
Is there anything
Fuck
on this
you.
plain other than that farmhouse, or it's just one big open area of what, a
It's
couple of miles?
the farmhouse, then the barbed wire enclosure, the barn, and then a significant distance to the forest on the other end.
Okay, and there's no way to go around.
Right.
Reasonable.
Yeah, there is a go around distance, but it adds tremendously to the
Yeah,
journey.
it would be more
Mm.
dangerous and a bigger problem to do that.
Yeah.
So the
Well, what
the
do you
thing,
know about big old Fomorians? Are there any weaknesses that we know of that would distract them or scare them or get them interested in something else? Or
So, like everything in Ildathok, they're hurt by the wind. And because they're so afraid of the wind, Fomorians also have very sensitive hearing. So they tend to not like very loud noises. So you could use that to hurt it or drive it away. And then lastly, it is a glamour. It's a creature that couldn't exist on Earth. And so if you manage to trick it into stepping into a Karinga portal, it would die instantly on the other side.
okay,
it's a
And
Karinga portal.
how is one of those portals created?
If on Earth and in Ildathok, in the same spot on a reflective surface, the element Karinga is put on that surface, it becomes a portal between the two worlds, and that's how people travel back and forth. And it sounds like it's hard to pull off, but if you do that on Earth and then the wind blows, then an exact copy will appear in Ildathok. So making a portal from Earth side isn't very hard. Making it in Ildathok is.
So
Because,
Ian, I have
So-
an air rifle. What
yes.
does that do in a situation like this?
So an air rifle is a real world technology actually, where it's just that you use compressed air to fire bullets instead of gunpowder.
Right. Does it have the qualities of the wind?
No. So, well, actually, I guess if you took the bullet out, you could use it to just shoot a stream of compressed air at close range.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think that's a
Not
valid
real.
use there.
Go away! Poof, poof, poof.
Yeah, I would say it's probably
Be
close.
scared!
Grigsby's just bringing the airsoft gun. It's like, yep, I got my airsoft gun. Don't worry.
Go away!
Yeah, if you take the bullet out, I would say it's probably +1 threat at close range.
Cool.
That's too funny.
I'm thinking more along the lines of perhaps a grenade or some dynamite.
Well, let's see what I have. And I think Irma will just kind of like delve into her pot, and you hear cleaning and clunking as if she's like probably in another room with like lots of noise and stuff in there. And then just start looking. What does she have access to? Give me 1 second here. Grenades. I may actually have grenades.
I have access to those too. if
I
I
have
need.
bear traps. I have
I don't think that'll do
harpoon.
much.
It's a little
much
big
against
for a
this
bear
thing.
trap.
I have a troll gun.
Wait, what did this thing come
I have
out
a
of?
kraken gun. It
The
came
barn?
out of the barn.
The bar, and what it ate the farmer, right?
Yeah.
Who cares
if-
about the farmer? He ate my unicorn. Like,
What if we bake unicorn cookies and farmer pies with bombs in them?
I would totally do that. I know there's pies in this wagon. What else is in this wagon?
There's a lot of trade goods that the fairies might have a hard time getting. Mostly stuff that you can only like import from other places on Earth because the fairies aren't very good at traveling over land.
Uh huh.
Spices and things
I
like
do
that.
not have any grenades, Jack. I'm sorry.
Well, let me say that I'm gonna, since that's on the Ranger playbook as an item, I can just declare that I happen to have one. Have thought in advance to bring one with me, so I'm gonna use that for and just have that available, with the idea that I'm not gonna hurt this thing, but it's gonna make enough noise, maybe with firing off some firearms at them, to perhaps be scary.
Okay.
Does
So
that
you
sound
guys-
like a reasonable plan as far as our allies go, or is there something wrong with that idea?
No, Cobweb and Mustard Seed thinks that makes sense, and they will be protecting the pie cart while you do it.
Okay. All right. Anything else we should do as far as plan?
So I think the next action you've got coming up is just crossing the distance from here to there.
All right. Well, we're
Um,
going to do that fast.
yeah. You could all pile into the pie wagon and use that to take cover and have somebody just drive that across with barrel is the preferred action. Or you could try to travel across on foot, and that'll maybe be some more difficult actions that you might want to set up with like survey to find a good time when the wind is low.
All right. Well, who has a good survey? I do not have survey.
I got 2 in survey.
So
Right?
maybe
It's the
Grigsby,
tree.
That's right.
Hey, if you get spotted, just stand really, really still and put your arms out like this. You were always there in that field.
so maybe Grigsby could use his tree-like senses to sense the wind and give us the best time. I think since I'm riding my horse, I think I would like to stay on my horse. If the rest of you wanted to be on the pie wagon, and I'd be willing to go a bit ahead with a ready grenade.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
I think I'll probably I'm guessing the wagon probably has some other stuff like on the top and whatnot. And so like towards more so the back, kind of like off to one side. Irma will kind of like have her beetle sit there on the edge. So like if we need to duck in, we can, but kind of like as a scout for the back side besides just the front.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So it sounds like you're leading the way, Jack. Do you want to roll should be risky limited barrel roll? So that'll get you halfway there.
So we're doing a barrel roll.
Yeah. You could.
No, I'm just amused by the pilot reference.
Oh yeah. So yeah, drew trees. Say yes to trees. Broccoli is really good. Spinach.
You could.
Eat
You
those
could
plants.
make that tree-like survey roll to set this up.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, that yes.
All right. I got 2. So what's my position in fact? Do I have one with this roll?
Controlled and normal, I would say. You're in a
All right,
good,
I'm
solid position here.
definitely not gonna push it. And I rolled a 3.
All right. So you're not feeling it here in the woods, but maybe if you stepped out into the field and tried it. So let's call that risky normal. And of course, making the position worse is a consequence, so you could resist that, but I can't say I recommend it.
Yeah. I'll be the bait. Well, Jack can hop in. I got a 5.
Okay, so on a risky normal success, you do manage to find a time when the wind is clear, but the consequence is that the time is right now. And so you yell for them to go, and they come charging past, and you try to jump on and miss, and you get left behind.
It's a very
That
severe
you can
consequence.
resist. Well,
sure.
you're like 10 feet behind the cart. It's not that severe.
10 feet behind the cart? I'll take 10 feet behind the cart. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah, so you can resist that to be on the cart, or you can not resist it, and you'll just have to barrel your own way across the field.
Yeah, no, I'll stay on the cart. I'll resist.
All right.
So, that is, I don't know, resolve? Awareness?
Awareness would make sense to
Okay, awareness.
not miss it.
So roll 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got a 6.
Great. No stress. You're on it.
All right. My job is done. Grigsby delivers yet again.
So the cart is now heading along, and so I would say you're now controlled limited. And so if you want to just spur them to go faster, you can turn that up into a risky standard.
I don't have a good barrel.
Nor do I.
I have 9 in barrel, so
You could ask Mustard Seed to drive it. That would probably be like a 1D fortune roll, because they're decent at it.
Our crew enjoys the pies. Stand behind. Well,
I'm on my horse, so either one of you two is going to have to do the barrel roll, or we'll have to let our friends.
I'd honestly let the friends do it.
Okay.
They're the ones meant to actually guard the wagon and whatnot and kind of guide. Might as well let them pull their weight.
All right. Well, then they're going to trade it up to risky normal. Let's see how they do. 3. All right.
Ooh.
So they gallop quickly across the plains, and kathunk, a wheel comes off the wagon. It skids to a stop, and the wagon is totally stranded out there, and you hear the wind is starting to pick up.
Well, dang.
And Mustard Seed says, "Well, that can't be my fault."
Don't matter whose fault it is. We got to do something about it. So if they were to get into how far across the plain are we now at the point that the wagon's broken down?
I'll say you still had limited effect, just to fail forward here. So you're now halfway to the barn, to the farmhouse.
Okay. All right. So if they were to all climb into the wagon, you said it's resistant to wind.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be a reasonable thing to do?
Yeah, that'll keep them safe for now.
All right. I think so I could either do that and give up on my horse, or I could try to make it over to where the Formorian is and shelter from the wind by the farmhouse. I'm not thinking of any other options that I have available.
Someone could protect and just resist the wagon wheel falling off in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I could do that.
I could always turn into a wagon wheel.
That's true. You have wood shape. You can just make a new wagon wheel.
I was about to throw Grigsby under the proverbial wagon, but yeah.
There you go.
Or one way to rationalize resisting would be for Grigsby to turn into a wagon wheel.
Very true.
Let me double check the rules for wood shape. I'm not sure what you roll for that, or if it just automatically succeeds. Can
Just
repair.
like right now, automatically succeeds.
Yeah, you roll pack.
Okay.
It's
I got.
your option. So I think we should go for it. If you're okay with that, Grigsby.
Okay. Should I push for this? Like, I only got one dice here. Like, this is
Well,
no.
technically, this is which action again?
Pack.
I could say that I assist you, yes, because Irma.
Do you know something about making wheels or have some tools?
Actions taken to defend include reducing a harmful clock or taking a setup action to improve position. I can do so. Yeah, I think she'd just probably be like, okay, Grigsby, it is like yoga. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to make yourself as round as possible, like my pot, like this. And she's going to like contort and be like, okay, so like, but you got to hold on to the wagon when you do it. So like, hold on to the thingy like this, and then like, yeah. Okay, and just
One
bend
foot.
a little. No,
Okay.
no, for like,
I'm falling.
no.
All right, so you're gonna roll with 2D, and Irma's gonna pay us stress for that,
Yep.
Okay, it's gonna
and
be.
then we'll see how your yoga works out.
Come on. Got a 5.
All right, that's a success. So you successfully form a wheel, and of course you could just craft a wheel out of your wood supply. But I'm going to say that the consequence is that didn't occur to you, and so you formed yourself literally into the wheel.
Okay.
You can resist that.
Oh, it's all right.
All right.
I
So
think that's
take it.
a consequence.
So Mustard Seed says, "All right, should I try that again?"
Yes.
I think we should do that. Yes.
All right, let's get to this.
Don't break another one. We don't have
farmhouse.
full grid
And
speed.
hurry.
Do I give him another dice? Come on, set up.
Sure.
Effect?
Yeah. If you're being a very helpful wheel down there.
Come on.
4. All right.
Ah.
So the wagon rolls up to the farmhouse, and at the same time the wind is going to pick up. So the consequence is you don't have time to get from the wagon into the farmhouse, but you can at least put the wagon next to the farmhouse.
Okay, so we're sheltering behind the farmhouse.
Yep, but you're out in the open as far as the Fomorians is concerned.
Yep. If so, I'm on a horse rather than the wagon.
Mhm.
If I were to, would I be able to get into the farmhouse, and if so, would I be closer to the Fomorian or close or further from the Fomorian?
I think you could get in, and then if you go to through the farmhouse, you could then be looking down at the Fomorian from the second story.
Okay, I think I'd like to do that, making sure that my horse is sheltered as well.
Yeah, your horse is with the other horses in the shadow, in the
Okay.
the wind shadow. Is there a word for that?
I'd like the horse to survive as well. So I'd like to run up so that if necessary, I can drop a grenade right on the Fomorian.
Cool.
I think
Oh, the
Irma
word is
will.
wind shadow.
I think Irma will go ahead and move her beetle and whatnot to sit in front of Grigsby,
Mhm.
and just kind of position with like a pie and like one of her guns and whatnot, and just be ready to like throw stuff to cause a distraction or to like cause,
Cause a scene.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got some time. Actually, it's gonna be a little while until the wind dies down, and the Fomorian's definitely not coming out until then. Does anybody want to take some actions to prepare?
Yes. I have a launch pad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and kind of like set it up in front of my pot and position the pie and being like, arc, okay. Kind of like add some of my, pepper
Mm-hmm.
into it, some of my ants and elixir, and just be like, okay, it's okay. So like pack some powder essentially into it and be like, all right, okay, we're cool.
Okay. So you want to make that a setup action for your future launch attack?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of action do you think that is? Usually setting a trap like that is finesse.
Why not?
That's a 50% chance of success.
Yep.
I can help. I can assist. I think I would be assisting by talking to the beetle. I'm being like, you ever hear about your brother? Or that's I don't know how you beetles keep track of it, but and just like really genuinely kind of petting it, but also being kind of gruesome about the details of our last escapade
You're a
with
horrible and wonderful friend. It is okay.
it.
Yeah, no, I'll totally take an additional die if I can.
Okay. Yeah, Grigsby takes away your distractions in a certain sense.
Okay, is that
Whee!
You've got some really bad luck at this game. All right, so that's a roll of a 3, which is a failure. But you were in controlled position, so all that happens is that you're like,
Oh,
all right,
I waste more time.
yeah, you're like, the pie's almost ready, and boing, it launches off, and you're like, need another pie. So you could just try again at risky if you want to take more time here.
Should I do it, guys? I think that would be a good way to have a distraction.
The worst consequence is just that the wind will be over and you guys will be moving into the fight. So if nobody else has any better ideas,
Yeah, I'll do it again at risky.
do you want to assist again, Grigsby?
Yeah, is it a stress to assist?
Yeah, each time.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I'll assist. It's to me.
A stress or a morale if you've got any of that. A 4. There you go.
4.
So the wind dies down, but your pie, your special surprise pie, is now ready to launch.
Excellent.
Meanwhile, in the farmhouse, I was hoping to get myself set up in exactly the perfect position. I saw where the Fomorian came out last time, so I want to be able to be exactly positioned to get that grenade on him.
Usually hunt or survey would be good actions for that.
Yep. I have 1 die in hunt. So I think I'm going to, yeah, I guess I'm going to do that.
All right.
That would be controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll give that a try with 1 die.
Yep. You do it, and it takes your time, but you're now ready to lob it at the perfect angle. So that'll set up your next action as well.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. So with the wind now dead, speaking of, as the wind dies down, you see the farmer materialize, and he's apparently walked over towards the unicorn pen. So he's got one hand out towards a unicorn, and he's
The
just
farmer?
frozen there. Yeah.
Yeah, remember, because it's like a moving scene. They're not technically here; they're on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And boom! The barn doors get burst open again, and the creature drags itself along the ground to start grabbing more unicorns. Is this the point when you guys want to launch at it, or you want to wait?
My preference is to see, because he, if he wants to just eat some unicorns and then go back in his barn,
Yep.
I don't see why we would need to engage him.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather see whether he notices that there's something weird on the other side of the farmhouse.
Between you and the unicorns, buddy.
So eating the unicorn seems to be taking his full attention and time. There's a chance that this is your best moment to sneak past him. You want to just keep waiting until he's finished all the unicorns and see if he goes back in the barn?
Well, I'm up in the farmhouse. If you two were to try that, I would cover your retreat.
What do you think, Grigsby?
Okay, we're still just like,
Yeah. I mean, we have pie, we have grenades and everything at the ready. I think if we're going to attack them, then we can be able to do that. But it might be best to make noise, essentially, while he's munching and chewing on something compared to silence. So yeah, let's go ahead and move. I feel like this is a GM setup, but we will do it anyway.
Okay.
So normally to sneak is finesse. So who wants to lead the caravan in sneaking past the big monster?
I got 3 and dabble. um.
Cobweb's not terrible at sneaking, so she could contribute a 1d fortune roll here.
Jack, you're good at.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's in the
little-
top of the farmhouse though.
Yeah, that's right.
Not able to help with the wagon.
I'm not coming with you at the moment.
I have 1 finesse, so I can go ahead and take that additional die, I guess.
I
from
think that's
Cobweb.
worth assisting.
Yeah. Well, Cobweb will assist, so that gives me.
Well, Cobweb doesn't have stress, so she can't assist.
Mm-hmm.
Ow. Well, she doesn't have stress. Why
Cobweb.
doesn't she lead it?
Yeah, let's follow. Let's go. Let her go first.
She can't resist. Shouldn't she take all the consequences?
I can protect. I have guardian. I can protect a teammate.
Okay.
That totally just happened between her. And
Cobweb's just like, okay.
I've replaced beetles before. I can replace guides.
I'm all for them letting them go first. Grigsby, all about that plan.
Hold your round form, Crispy.
All right.
Stop laughing. Go
Cobweb's
round.
gonna go for it. Did not go well. Did not go well. Cobweb says, "Yeah." And the horses take off sneakily, but not sneakily enough. And as you round the front of the farmhouse, the creature raises its massive head, sniffs with its big nose, and then starts crawling your way rapidly.
All right. So I think this is the time I need to use to distract it with the grenade. So to the best of my understanding, probably, I want to herd it back toward the barn, right? Is there a good place to drop a grenade where if it were running away from the loud, nasty sound, it would be most likely to work?
Yeah, you could try to drive it away from the party and towards the barn.
Right. So I'm not trying to hurt it. I don't think a grenade's going to do enough damage to really make any difference here. I just want it running back into the barn.
Right. Yeah, let me look at the grenade stats. Yeah, so grenade would actually have limited effect, so it would take 1 tick on its clock if you were trying to hurt it. But
yeah, I'm not trying to hurt it.
Herd it.
Herd.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that's normal, and since you're in a perfectly set up position, it's also controlled.
Okay. So obviously the natural thing for me to do from a player perspective is to try to talk you into saying that that's a draw roll.
Yeah, throwing a one-handed thing is always a draw roll.
Is a draw roll. All right, so I have 3 dice. I'm going to, but I could spend a stress to get an additional die.
2 stress.
2 stress.
1 is for assisting, yeah.
Yeah, no, of course. So I'm going to spend 2 stress to get 1 more die, and I'll roll 4.
All right.
That sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I will say Irma also has draw, I think, and so could probably assist for 1 stress by just shooting it to drive it away.
I do. But also I have my lobbied pie, so I'm not sure if this would technically be a group action for both of us to lob our stuff together.
Well, there are no group actions, but you can do your action after his and treat his as a setup.
Do you want to do that, Jock, or do you want me to go ahead and assist you?
But you could do both. It's a one-handed gun and a one-handed pie.
Well, that would give us 5 dice.
That's a lot of dice.
Actually, I have 3 dice for when I do that, so.
Well, no, that would be so that would be me rolling 5 dice if you're assisting.
Oh, yes, I will assist you.
All right.
Stress
5,
taken.
come on. Let's get that for a 6.
All right. So,
How can you
are-
not roll a 6 on 5 dice?
Dice gods, Ray, stop it.
well, it is possible to roll 5 ones, so we'll see.
Don't say that.
Oh wow, a 7.
You rolled the
Oh, man.
Jack
All right,
rolled
so-
so well that the dice gods, he gave him bigger
7.
pool.
What do you? You rolled d8s, Jack.
all right. Yeah. Let me hit the right button and do that correctly this time.
There we
Yes.
go. That's a 6. And then everything else would have been a failure. So wow, close one somehow. All right. So you lob the grenade and pow! The Gigas stumbles back into shock, and one of its hands has been blasted off, and it sort of like cradles it with one of its other hands and uses the others to scamper away back towards the barn. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put a tick on its fight clock, or no, normal effect. So 2 ticks. It is halfway disinclined to fight you.
All right.
And that is the arm Irma is going to try to throw the pie at.
All right.
Because I got my lovely little ants and whatnot packed into it. So
Yeah, so you get the ants into the bloodstream, and because it's been eating
yeah.
unicorns, it's got elixir in its bloodstream. So you're going to have improved effect on the ants there. So that
cool.
should be risky greater.
okay. And do you feel that Jack throwing the grenade and everything was a setup or an assist?
Yeah, so if you want your attack to be during his attack, you just flash back for like 1 stress, and then it'll count as a setup because it's distracted by the grenade. So yeah, you could pay 1 stress probably to improve the position to control.
Yes.
Okay.
So that would be 1, 2, 46. Ow! Coming. Give me a second. 4.
Ooh.
Okay. Risky. That's not too bad. So with greater effect, the creature gets hit, and the ants start cloning themselves as they climb up its arm, and it's freaking out now. So it's going to like panic and run into the barn, and so that's going to take it out of the fight.
Hey!
And
But what's the consequence to that?
So the risky consequence is that while this was happening, it's also going to wrap its other hand around the barbed wire fence and hurl it at you. And so it is going to hit the horses and kill them.
Aw, horses.
If only someone could protect them.
Me! Yeah, I think she'll kind of like get her beetle to move really fast and whatnot, and just kind of like take the lid of the pot and kind of like hold it down and whatnot, so it just like scrapes off the metal.
Okay. So that sounds like prowess to me.
Protect a teammate. Take a +1 die to your resistance rolls. So prowess.
Okay, so 3 stress, but you managed to block the barbed wire from hitting the horses, and it's just going to do glancing harm to your beetle. So you can pay 1 stress, or your beetle can be wounded.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Well, if you do take wound from a glancing hit, you also gain 1 morale from
I'll take the
adrenaline
morale.
roll. So yeah, you gain 1 morale, and your beetle is now wounded.
Excellent.
Should have listened to Grigsby.
I'm a wheel, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then let's just quickly roll the wagon into the woods, and then take our break. So who wants to lead the roll again? Should it be Mustard Seed making the fortune roll for barrel?
Makes sense.
I think the one being the actual wheel that has barrel should be taking this in a literal sense and making the roll.
You have barrel? Then you should roll.
Grigsby has barrel.
I do.
Don't you? I thought you did.
No, I have survey. Can I survey our way forward?
He's a friend to barrels.
I-
It's a wide open plain, so it's kind of hard for me to picture that. What are you looking for that'll help you?
a way out faster.
Smoother path.
Yeah.
Like a trail. Sure. Yeah, you could find that. Let's call that controlled limited.
Should I push here? I feel like I should push. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push.
All right. Controlled normal.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have rolled it, but I got a 6.
Great. Okay. So you really push yourself, and you're like, there's an old trail. We can take that.
Jesus.
And so that'll get you from risky limited up to risky normal for the barrel roll.
Okay.
All right. And then we'll just have Mustard Seed roll that.
Yep.
5. So
Oh, man.
and you arrive safely at the other side. But just as you do, the wind picks up a little, and it's going to scrape just a little bit of the armor off the pie wagon. So that'll be 1 tick there, unless somebody wants to resist that.
No, I don't think that's worth it.
Yeah.
How
Not at the moment.
how many faces on that clock?
There,
It's 5 left now because it was a 6.
Okay.
5. That's the barrel clock.
That's
Yep.
the clock for the pie wagon.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So you've safely made it into the forest, and it's been an hour. So let's take our break. Due to technical difficulties, we're going to leave the stream running. So we're just going to be muting ourselves and covering up our cameras, and we'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Okay.